Hi there, and welcome on the journey to transform culture. I'm Steve, and yes, I have been your guide. Well, folks, I hope you're having a fantastic day and an even better week. But today we're going to break from the normal topics of organizational culture and so forth, although we'll dive into some elements. And we're going to talk a little bit about a program that I'm going to begin, and it's called the Red Sleigh Program. Okay? It's specific to what I do, okay, with organizational improvement and so forth. And that's really any organization, folks. It doesn't matter if there's two people or a community, or it doesn't matter. Civic organization, facility, site, it doesn't. I can work with anyone. But this is what the program essentially is. And let me tell you a little bit about the basis for me coming up with this program. You know, oftentimes in my travels and my communication with folks, I hear time and time again from folks, hey, you should help so-and-so, and you should help so-and-so, and all of this, right? And you can imagine how all of that mounts. And it dawned on me, while it's pretty obvious, I mean, it wasn't rocket science to figure this out, but as it's continued on, what I've essentially established was, our pride and ego. We're human beings, folks. We're not perfect and we struggle, right? And it's no different in organizations. But what fools us oftentimes is our pride and our ego. It's the people who don't ask for help when they need it, right? What prevents them from asking for help? It's pride and ego, right? They can't get past pride and ego. And yes, while it is important to be, as self-sufficient as possible and to maintain and do what we look, folks, people stumble, people fall individually, culturally, organizationally, it doesn't matter. And what you find is it's that pride and ego that prevents folks from reaching out. And so there is this suffering that happens. Now, as we look at organizations, any really organization, doesn't matter if it's governmental or private, or it doesn't matter. But as we look at these, what you see is instead of dealing with the pride and ego of asking for help, we become a throwaway culture, right? Well, we just slash employees and boot them out, and we'll change our leadership and our support staff around, and we make these wholesale changes rather than saying, look, we just need to own we're struggling, we don't know how to fix what we have broken, and we need help. It's no different, folks, if I hurt my leg and my pride and ego kept me from going to the doctor to get an x-ray and to have them assess, oh, you broke your leg, right? So that they could then say, okay, we're going to put you in a cast and do all the things, right? If I didn't do that, we can think of a myriad of aspects of life. That's just one example, right? A myriad of aspects of life where folks lean on their pride and ego. And what does that mean? The suffering lasts longer, and even to its detriment sometimes, sadly, right? That pride and ego will get us. So the Red Sleigh program, what is really that about? Well, let's talk about that. So let's say that you provide a product or service, right? But you also are a recipient through vendors and suppliers of a product and service. If you have a vendor or supplier who you like, but they struggle with on-time delivery, maybe they have some quality issues, maybe there's a productivity, of course that will play into on-time delivery as well, and maybe if they have issues, you like them, or maybe they're, because of the workload that they have, competing forces, or issues they haven't overcome systemically, right? Whatever it might be, you may say, look, there are a few options I have out there. I like these folks, but they struggle. They're on the struggle bus, and I want to help them out. And so what does this do? The Red Sleigh program essentially is an anonymous program where you would purchase a token, essentially a Red Sleigh token, and anonymously provide my help for these organizations, right? For these folks who are struggling to handle their, say 1 through 3, top 3 constraints in their organization, the thing that's preventing them from driving down waste and improving their performance, which plays into what? Your performance. So if you think about it, this is you helping you, right? But also helping them, right? Naturally. And so it is kind of a gift, if you will, in that sense. This program, set up for basically short runs, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, or 4 week. And at the end of the video, you'll see contact information through my email and my phone. You leave a detailed message with your organization name and so forth. Now, remember, this is anonymous, right? So this is designed to provide that support anonymously. They don't have to know who gifted this to them, right? And on top of that, because I'm an NDA guy, anything that we do to help them out, that's in-house and that's for them alone, right? It's not public consumption. So with that said, we want to provide a vehicle to help folks out without charging massive corporate costs for improvement, right? To make this digestible, because your suppliers may be smaller operations too, right? And so it's not a situation where you're going to hire a big corporation to go in to help them anyway. They just need some surgical help. They just need somebody to assess that they have the broken leg and provide the measures to begin the healing, right? The benefits of my service is that my focus is on organizational culture, right? Organizational culture means developing your team, training your team, but also giving them the tools for rapid improvement and to be able to improve on all their KPIs. There isn't any KPI we can't help, key performance indicator. Anything that you can measure, we can jump in and try to and help them out with that, right? So this could be as simple as an audit and recommendations and that sort of thing, all the way up to a full, Kaizen events and so forth. It can be very elaborate. Now, keeping in mind also, this could be something that you do if you're an entity that has multiple sites underneath you and you want to afford help for one of your sites, but you don't necessarily want to call them out amongst the other sites, right? The other GMs and so forth. This is also a way that you could provide a service or a help, right? And for that matter, you could be the site itself doing the same thing for your team, and then anonymously put an anonymous situation on there so that folks can receive that. Remember, we're customer centric. So if someone's receiving a gift saying, "Hey, we want to help you out in some of these areas," that's really customers saying, "Hey, we want to help you out because we want you to succeed. Because when you succeed, we succeed." And this is kind of the basis of the program. Okay, so that's a little bit on that. In general, we want folks to be able to have successful, thriving lives, but it's difficult to do that. We want to, when we revert to and we're comfortable with our pride and ego stimulating that throwaway culture, we want to get away from that. We want to develop people. We want to grow, right? We want to grow our teams. We want the longevity of our team and that team cohesion to grow. And we want folks to be able to have the tools, right, to go back and in-house be able to fix what's broken as they go. This isn't a silver bullet situation. We want folks to be able to take the program and in-house run with it, right? The last thing you want to do is be codependent on anyone. Doesn't matter if they're a permanent employee or leader, it doesn't matter. Contract situation, it doesn't matter. You don't want to be codependent on outside services. You want to be as self-service as possible in-house, right? That's the most cost-effective way to be better, to grow, is the most cost-effective way for you and your organization. Because your folks aren't going to, your team isn't going to grow if you don't have the resources to help do that, right? All right, folks, just a little bit of a snapshot on the Red Sleigh program. Remember, at the end, I'll provide you'll see my Pinnacle Ship information, and just reach out with your details, and then I'll contact you. We can go over any of the particulars. All right, folks, hope you're having a great day. Remember, hit that good green domino 3 to 5 times a day to uplift, motivate, inspire, and just encourage other folks. When we do that, not only are we helping to transform culture for the better, but we're transforming our own lives. And remember, we can't transform anything on the outside if we're not willing to transform on the inside, right? All right, folks, have a fantastic day. Hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.